Good afternoon, everybody. Alan Denman here, writer on a boat. If I'm looking a little bit flustered, it's because I've been outside painting in this heat, and it's already 32 degrees inside the boat. So this is the nature of a narrowboat. In hot weather, the steel heats up, and it's like being in an oven. Anyway, writer on a boat. Who is this for? It's for writers and storytellers to learn more about the art of storytelling and gain insights into that wonderful art and craft. And it's also for readers and viewers to get a deeper appreciation of what you're watching or what you're reading, because once you understand, if you like, the inner mechanics, the secrets of storytelling, then I believe you come to appreciate story in any form, whether it's a film or a novel, better. Got a tickly nose there. So this week, what's the theme of this week? Well, binge watching. And now I've recently revisited Game of Thrones, which I think something like 83 episodes. Massive project, really. And why do we binge watch? Well, the answer, or perhaps a better question, is why do we watch anything? What keeps us in there? Because I think what is going on is very useful to understand, both for writers, storytellers, and viewers and readers. What's going on, of course, is our emotions are being stirred. And I'm going to talk a lot more about this in future episodes, that really story is an emotion generator. And the aim of a good storyteller is to stir our emotions. And our emotions can go one of two ways. Our emotions can be in support of a character, that would normally be the protagonist, and our feelings would be against, maybe it's repulsion, hatred, anger, disgust, towards the antagonist. That's a very simple way of putting it. And I've forgotten my two mole rats, but they'll come back next week. But the idea is you have a protagonist and antagonist, and they oppose each other. That relationship is very interesting because it's also a relationship with ourselves. So the protagonist is an aspect of you, and if you're a wise writer and you're self-aware, you'll know that your antagonist is also an aspect of you. Right. Game of Thrones, binge watching, what's going on? How do we get hooked? How can millions of people get hooked into this TV series that went on for, 8 years or something like that? It's a kind of big question, really, isn't it? And I think it's actually very simple. The story, the novels on which these are based are powerful, well written, and what they do is they stir our emotions, and we start to relate to a certain character. We can relate in certain ways, which I'll go into in more detail another time. But let's just say the young Bran who's thrown out the window and is crippled. What do we feel for him? We feel sympathy, massive sympathy for him. We want to protect him. We are almost like want to step into the film and look after him and protect him, because he's so vulnerable now. He can't walk. So that's one way of doing it. Sympathy is generated, emotion is generated, and this gets us hooked into a particular character. Now, what you've got in a lot of television series is, of course, you have an ensemble cast of characters. So you can kind of pick and choose to some degree. Who do you really want to focus, and who do you like most of all, and who do you hate most of all? And so there's quite a kind of menu to choose from here in a television series. But the secret is how to get your audience to feel something towards your characters. This is really the first step of storytelling. If you, as a storyteller, cannot make your reader or viewer feel something towards your protagonist, the character whose story it is, then you have failed. Because what that means is the people reading or viewing are not going to be able to step into that story. They won't want to follow your character. So it's vital that you as a storyteller generate emotion for your protagonist and against your antagonist. It's a lot more subtle than that, but I'm just putting it in its crudest form now. So yes, so I think that's what happens with binge viewing, is that we get hooked into certain characters for and against, the good guys and the bad guys, if I put it simply, and that emotion stays with us, and we want, oh, what happened to them next? Will they survive? Will they be exterminated? What happens to the bad guy? Is there some sort of justice in the end? And so now when we're asking those questions, now I don't mean that we're asking them consciously. So this is just a note for viewers and readers, that when you are viewing something or reading a book, what I'm going to ask you is, next time you do this, try and become aware of what's going on inside you emotionally, what's going on inside in your body. If you go to the cinema, for instance, in a very tense, conflictual scene in which the antagonist appears to be winning, are you leaning forward in your seat? If you were to really wire yourself up, you would see that your heart rate is accelerating at certain points. Your muscles may be tensing, you may be changing your body's position, and so forth. You are reacting at an unconscious level, but you are reacting to story. And this is the power of story. It can generate emotion in us. And so this is why we binge watch. So that's my challenge to you, a little exercise to try out. Whatever you're watching next, whether it's something tonight, a film or a TV series, or a book you're reading, try to become aware that what's going on just below the conscious level, in your subconscious. What are you feeling about this reader, this character, as a reader or a viewer? What's going on, what sort of emotions, and our emotional reactions can be quite complex as well. I feel something for this character, but I don't like that aspect of him. It's more complex than just liking or not liking. But try and do that. So as you're actually reading or as you're actually viewing, also become aware at a slightly deeper level, subconsciously, what are you feeling towards this character or that character, and the story as well. And what's the story saying? Is it very trite, or is there something important being worked out here, discussed, debated between the characters, and especially between the protagonist and antagonist? That's it for today. I'm sorry if I look flustered. Did I say that? I've just been painting the stern deck, which is probably madness because I'm putting red oxide on, but it's actually drying as I'm putting it on, so I don't know what it will look like in the morning. But anyway, I'm off for a cold shower now, and I hope you found that interesting. That's all from me today. Have a great week.